林博士 Pauling PhD 同卡梅隆博士 Aaron Cameron PhD 由1971年開始對維他命 C 防癌治癌嘅效果做咗大量臨床實驗，喺1100名癌症嘅末期患者，包括經外科手術、放射、化學等療法均無效者，由其中選出100名為治療組，每人供食10公克高劑量嘅維他命 C， 其他1000名為對照組。兩組間其他嘅日常處理都完全相同。兩位博士發現，定時服用高劑量嘅維他命 C， 逐步增加維他命 C 劑量每日達10公克，可以預防癌症體內生長，而且對癌症病人亦都有顯著效果。佢哋經過5年試驗，喺1976年喺美國科學會摘要 Proceeding of the National Academy of Science 發表研究結果，其中每日服用10公克組別嘅平均生存期，較其他1000名對照組延長多咗4倍，甚至喺7年之後，1978年8月報告指出，對照組嘅1000名患者已經全部死亡，而每人服用維他命 C 10公克組別裏面仍然仲有18人生存。只係佢哋兩個人並唔認為單維他命 C 本身係可以治癌嘅，佢哋認為一個人會唔會得癌症，得咗之後會唔會惡化同埋好轉，同本身抵抗力嘅強弱有好大嘅關係。假若能夠增加身體嘅抵抗力，則對癌症治療必有改善。而維他命 C 喺呢度正提供輔助功效。另外，佢哋發現維他命 C 喺好多方面可以增強病人嘅抵抗力，抑止癌症腫瘤嘅擴大，防止癌症腫瘤轉移，並且可以增強免疫力，改善健康狀況等。實驗指出，當維他命 C 極度缺乏嘅時候，身體會非常衰弱疲倦，而維他命 C 係生物體合成肉鹼卡拉天唔能夠缺少嘅一種物質。據文件記載，癌症患者嘅體內維他命 C 嘅含量好低，容易導致身體惡質化。利用維他命 C 嚟治療癌腫瘤嘅時候，血液中必須保持一定嘅濃度，並且要持續唔可以間斷，亦都唔可以突然減量或者停服。突然減量會導致反效果。口服維他命 C 嘅時候，身體能夠容忍嘅最大劑量係以腸嘅接受度為準，超過腸嘅接受度容易導致腹瀉。服用高劑量維他命 C 嘅時候，唔可以一次過服下，可以每日分成少量，分多次嚟服用。
由於維他命 C 係水溶性嘅，所以當人飲用維他命 C 嘅時候，大部分會迅速被腸胃系統嘅水分所吸收，黏附喺腸臟同埋胃臟裏面。因此，僅只有2成維他命 C， 最後先至能夠進入身體細胞裏面。另一方面，當維他命 C 喺腸胃裏面累積到大量之後，對腸胃造成負荷，身體喺自我保護嘅機制下，就會以腹瀉嘅方式將呢8成維他命 C 排出體外。所以，常人當服食過量嘅維他命 C 後，一般都係出現腸臟不適嘅現象，例如肚瀉。故此，由於有8成維他命 C 冇辦法被身體吸收而浪費咗，因此如果要吸收大量維他命 C 嘅話，就要服用極高劑量嘅維他命 C， 身體先至能夠吸收到足夠嘅維他命 C 對抗重症。但係有人發現，只要將維他命 C 加入脂質體，就能夠減少腸胃吸收，讓呢一種含有脂質性嘅維他命 C 可以沿住消化系統一路傳流到大腸。就因為大腸嘅功能就係吸收脂肪，所以呢一種含有脂質性嘅維他命 C 就可以直接被大腸吸收進入體內，同被免疫系統嘅巨細細胞所吸收，嚟提升人體嘅免疫力。採用呢一種含有脂質性嘅維他命 C， 可以讓身體輕易咁吸收高達7至8成嘅維他命 C， 其果效比口服甚至靜脈注射更好，吸收百分比更高。同時，呢一種食用方式亦都能夠免去口服維他命 C 嘅副作用。紐西蘭嘅60分鐘時事雜誌曾經報道高劑量維他命 C 同埋脂質性維他命 C 治癒豬流感嘅個案，就係一名紐西蘭農夫 Alan Smith 喺2009年患上豬流感，呢個亦都曾經喺香港爆發嘅新型流感，而其後痊癒嘅個案。由於佢係因着高劑量維他命 C 而痊癒，因此喺紐西蘭嘅醫學界亦都成為咗一宗極具爭議性嘅案例。節目當中亦都揭示咗西醫霸權陰暗嘅一面。
Story of a man, a dairy farmer who came back from the dead. Doctors were all set to turn off his life support, but his family refused to give up. They demanded the hospital try high doses of vitamin C. Well, as Melanie Reid will show you, it turned into a fight. The specialists didn't believe such a treatment would work, but, well, suffice to say, the farmer is no longer on death's door, and his family claim he's living proof.
This is Aotearoa farmer Alan Smith in Auckland's intensive care unit, shortly before the doctors told his family his life support should be turned off and he be allowed to die. Alan's story began on June 28, 2009. He arrived at Auckland International Airport after a fishing trip with mates in Fiji. He caught a connecting flight to Tauranga where his launch is moored and was joined by his wife Sonia.
I woke up in the night and he was really hot, so I gave him some Panadol and that cooled him off, but cooled him off a bit much because later on he was so... I woke up again and he was just like, he was laying there just stone cold and just laying there still as, and I thought, oh God, the first thing that came to my mind was, God, he's dead.
In Tauranga Hospital, Alan was swabbed for swine flu. After 2 days, his deterioration was so dramatic, the 3 sons and 8 grandchildren arrived, warned this could be a final goodbye.
Just seeing him just in an induced coma and everything like that just was horrible. I mean, yet that was the beginning.
A specialist crew flew in from Auckland with a portable ECMO machine, a complex life support system which takes over the function of the lungs. All the grandkids had surrounded their papa before he was airlifted north. As Alan lay in a coma in Auckland Hospital, heavily medicated, ECMO and other machines keeping him alive, these are those clouded out X-rays. Alan developed what's known as whiteout pneumonia. This is when the lungs can't be seen by X-ray, so full of infected fluids they are unable to take in any air whatsoever. For weeks on end, Alan's condition changed little, hovering close to death.
When it got to 3 weeks, it was really getting scary then.
Just as the family thought things couldn't get any worse, Alan was diagnosed with hairy cell leukemia. Auckland Hospital notes to the family say,
"The type of leukemia Mr. Smith has is potentially treatable if that's all he had. However, with his lung failure, Mr. Smith cannot survive."
Auckland Hospital refused to take part in this story. 60 Minutes has obtained Alan Smith's medical files and records of that Monday meeting.
This morning, we, the CVICU consultants, met and discussed with the ECMO specialist from America, Mr. Smith's situation. The group is in unanimous agreement that Mr. Smith should be removed from ECMO and be allowed to die. Continuing is only prolonging his inevitable death.
My brother just stepped in and he said, no, you haven't tried everything. You've got to try vitamin C intravenously, high doses. And they just said no.
The family pleaded with doctors that Alan be administered high-dose vitamin C, a treatment right outside of mainstream medicine. So what was the doctor's reaction?
Oh, they said no because there's no proof of it doing anything or doing anyone any good. Or my mind was just spinning because they wanted to turn them off, and I'm thinking, well, I hope we can get through this. And with that, Paul and Shane walked in.
That's your sons?
Yes, 2 of our boys. They walked in and then, they really stood their grounds.
They were all about to find out if they'd pushed hard enough. The next day, Tuesday, Auckland Hospital arranged another family meeting.
All of intensive care unit medical staff have met again. We are all in agreement that vitamin C will be of no benefit. We all agree Mr. Smith will not survive. However, one member feels slightly uneasy that we should wait a little longer before taking Mr. Smith off ECMO. It's therefore reasonable to wait until Friday. If Mr. Smith has shown no improvement by then, he will be taken off ECMO. In the meantime, given the family's strong beliefs about vitamin C, we are willing to give this over the next 2 days.
So Tuesday night, he got his first dose of 25 grams through the IV, and Wednesday morning he got another 25 grams. The Wednesday afternoon they did a CT scan on his chest, and that's when they found the air pockets in his lungs, whereas the x-rays had showed just complete white.
So Alan's x-rays, before high-dose intravenous vitamin C, so full of infected fluid the lungs can't be seen. This x-ray taken after 2 days of high-dose vitamin C treatment. The lungs dramatically improved and readily visible. By D-Day, the Friday when Alan Smith was destined to die, when the ECMO life support was to be withdrawn, turned out to be the day Alan Smith was destined to, well, maybe survive.
Mr. Smith is stable but still critical. He has improved over the last couple of days. Turning Mr. Smith prone has probably made the biggest difference. His chest x-ray is better.
So less than a week after the high-dose vitamin C was started, Alan had improved to the point that he could be taken off ECMO life support. Then, just as the family felt they could breathe a bit easy themselves, Alan's health started to dive. They would find the vitamin C had been stopped.
This time, a different consultant was there, and he was just so adamant against it. He sat back in his chair and rolled his eyes and crossed his arms and looked at the ceiling and said, "No, not putting him back on it. No, no."
Did he make you feel like a bit of an idiot?
He did, and it's the first time everyone had hit someone.
3 days later, the vitamin C was restarted, but only very low doses of 1 gram twice a day. By early August, still critical and still in an induced coma, but by now breathing on a ventilator, Alan was airlifted closer to home, to intensive care at Waikato Hospital, who, like Auckland Hospital, wouldn't be interviewed. It was here the Smith family found they had another scrap on their hands.
A doctor comes on and stops it. And
stops the vitamin C?
Stops the vitamin C.
And he says what?
And I said, you know, why? And he said, well, this stuff has come down with him and we don't know what it is. So here we go again, another fight.
This time they brought in the heavyweights. Wellington public law specialist May Chen warned Waikato Hospital.
The decision to discontinue the high-dose intravenous vitamin C treatment without consulting with Alan's family is in breach of Right 7 of the Health and Disability Commissioner's Code.
There was even a threat, wasn't there, that you would go to the High Court?
Yes, we would. Well, this is someone's life we're dealing with, not just anything, you know. Once he's dead, you can't get him back. And we weren't going to let that happen.
So they agreed to give him a couple of grams of vitamin C a day?
Yeah.
And you wanted him to be on like 50 grams a day?
That's right, yeah.
So they kind of said, yes, we'll do it, but didn't really do it anyway?
No, that's right.
Slowly recovered, and it wasn't until we got some oral lipospheric vitamin C into him, and that's when he once again recovered really fast.
After a total of 9 weeks in a coma, Alan eventually was woken, which is when Sonia began administering vitamin C to Alan herself, using a special high-dose oral form known as lipospheric. The next step was meant to be months of rehabilitation.
Yeah, I was taking 6 grams of that a day, of the lipospheric, and of course, when I had to go to rehab again to learn to walk, I was told I'd be there for 3 months. Well, in 3 months, I did not like the sound of that. But I walked out of that hospital in 1 day, under 14 days. And even the doctors were absolutely disbelieved that I could come right so quick.
喺呢段影片中，最後亦都提及 Alan Smith 係服用脂質性維他命 C， 使到佢痊愈。